we're talking about IMSAFE. So, in other words, we've got to think about the fitness of the pilot to be ready to fly, and we've got to think about the fitness of the aircraft to be ready to fly, and before we do all of that, we've got to make sure the maintainer's fit to fly. So, I don't know about you, Andy, are you safe to do maintenance today?
I hope so. I've been doing some.
Okay.
Yeah, no, it is something that we all need to consider before we go down doing some maintenance, and even simple things like what medication have we taken recently. For us in a Car 30 GA shop, a lot of our cold and flu medication that contains pseudoephedrine. If we're on any of that, we're out. Like, can't do maintenance.
Huh.
Yeah.
So you can't have a cultural cold tablet?
You just got to have a look at what's on it. But yeah, when the little damp man comes around with his suitcase and says, we've got to do your drug tests and alcohol tests, and you're going to have a fair case to argue when you're being caught with some pseudoephedrine in your system. So yeah, simple things like that you just think, it's just a cold and flu tablet. It can impair your ability to make good decisions. And so, it's out.
And that's not just necessarily for Car 32?
Car 30.
Car 30, it's actually also our guys.
Yeah, well, anyone who's airside can be subjected to a blood and or a drug and alcohol test. And so, yeah.
So we've got to make sure we don't take that stuff before we go working on the plane. What about if you've been crook? You know, we've all at flu this time of year. We always end up with chest colds and coughs and all that sort of stuff. Does that make any sort of impact on your abilities?
You don't think it does until you've got to get under the instrument panel of a Jabiru or something, and you've got to go upside down, and all of a sudden that head cold is pretty apparent.
A real problem.
Yeah, and so you go, oh, I've got a cold. I'll look at that some other time, and you don't do things. So. Yeah, if you're not well, you're not well. Don't go there. And wait till you are well. You know, people, I think, sort of downplay the importance of maintenance. You've got to be on top of your game to be able to perform thorough maintenance. And just trivial things like a head cold. Can affect how you approach maintenance.
I know I've been flying on occasions where you think to yourself, oh gosh, the sinuses are a bit blocked up here. Maybe I shouldn't have gone flying, and altitude can have a problem, but I hadn't actually considered going upside down under an instrument panel. It's exactly the same.
It's not a pleasant experience.
No, you get that same congestion. It's not good. Now, I don't get stressed, much. Do you get stressed much? No?
What would
Pretty
I have
laid
to be
back?
stressed
No,
about?
well, you got, what, 2 kids?
Yep.
Wife?
Yep.
Job?
Yep.
All those things? Nothing stressful
Life's
there.
good.
Yeah, life's fine. So what sort of stresses, might make you think, should I be doing maintenance today? Or
anything that's really, I guess, taking up brain space. Like, if it's there in your mind, it's wasting space. So that space that's not going to be used for being focused on the job. So I would say that anything that is niggling away at you would be stress, and probably good reason to have a long hard think about whether you should be doing what you're about to do. And the same goes with with flying. Especially I would say with flying, where you need to be I guess time critical with decision making. Any of these stresses in your life that are consuming mental capacity are impairing your mental capacity.
So there's nothing left to do the work.
Quite often in my case, So have a think about it. It seems trivial, like it seems a bit of a no-brainer, but it's serious stuff.
Cool. Oh, now this is always a good one. Alcohol. There's nothing to do with pilots and alcohol, very often at all. Bar talk and all those sorts of things. Maintainers don't drink, do they? Nope. Well, not while they're working on an aircraft.
Again, see, we get tested for all this stuff, so it's pretty serious. But again, it's you've got the CASA rules, which open hangars, airside, you can't have alcohol. So there's some pretty strict rules, and they're there for good reason. When it comes to this, it's all about making good decisions, and alcohol, I think, it's been proven a few times to impair people's ability to make good decisions, and
Yep.
I don't think we should mix the two.
No, I think you're probably right. And we might not go for that beer before we go flying. Okay, cool. And then the second last one is talking about fatigue. Now, you told me earlier you've got 2 kids, they're under 5. Would there be any fatigue in your life?
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever.
None whatsoever. So yeah, fatigue is something that is quite a personal thing. Like fatigue for one isn't necessarily fatigue for another person, and it's something that is really hard to measure. And how do you feel? I feel okay. It really is a judgment call for the person, but it's about being, I guess, aware of the need to make that decision. Ask yourself, am I getting a bit puffed here? Did I get a good night's sleep? You honestly know yourself. Well, no, it was a couple of nights with kids and all the rest. I'll let someone else do that inspection today. And just be honest with yourself. I'm not up to it today. So what?
There's no one's going to be considered a hero for soldiering on when they've been up for 8 hours.
The soldiering on thing is not a good thing in aviation. I think it's probably the worst thing we can try and do.
So really what you should be doing is trying to perhaps get used to, or getting used to assessing yourself for fatigue and seeing when am I getting tired now? 3 o'clock in the afternoon after you've had a big lunch, you're getting sleepy.
Quite often with work at the museum, when we're trying to make commitments, quite important commitments, we will work quite late at night, and it is something that we aim to manage, and we are very conscious of, and we will pull the pin at times and say, no, we'll stop at this time, and have a clear time that we'll stop at before we get to the time. So you think, oh, we're almost there, we're just
a little bit more.
Exactly. It is important to set those mental gates so that you don't just creep into that danger area.
So we could actually say it's really just as relevant for our guys, doing maintenance on a weekend if they've had a big Friday night or something like that. Should be thinking about.
It's 5 o'clock, it's getting darker, lights aren't real good in the hangar. But I've only got a couple of hours to finish the annual, and then I can come back next weekend and
go
fly.
flying.
Exactly. So it's like, well, should you press on? And it's that soldier on mentality, or should you just go, I'll just come out next time when it's nice and sunny and I can see what I'm doing, and I haven't been in a cold hangar all day for 8 hours.
Freezing.
Getting tired, getting grumpy at it. It's getting dark.
Grumpy? Never. No.
Joy to work on.
Absolutely. And the last one we talk about is just making sure you get the right, not just the right things to eat, but the right regular eating, and eating, non-sugary, non-fatty stuff, good foods.
I find that more affects me with my flying than anything else, because you tend to do fairly long legs, and it's pretty dry atmosphere, and it's pretty easy to get to the end of the day and you've got a bit of a headache and all the rest, and you think, didn't really drink enough water. Okay. It is something we all need to consider, and make sure you do have water with you. Take some fruit. Fruit's great when you're flying along in aeroplanes. Easy to eat. And,
Grab the apple, throw the core out. No, I didn't say that. We don't throw the core out.
No, we don't. It ticks the box, and you feel well better for it when you actually get to your destination, instead of being dry as a chip. Going, oh, geez.
Why can't I talk properly?
Exactly.
My mouth's so dry.
Food is quite important.
Cool. There's one important thing that we didn't talk about that's not on the IMSAFE checklist, but is actually a bit of a problem when it comes to modern work practices and distractions and things. So let's talk about distractions.
Mobile phones. Yeah, unfortunately, when you're a chief engineer, you spend a lot of time on a mobile phone.
Yep.
And they are a distraction. They are a problem. They're a great a maintenance tool.
Yep.
Nowadays, being able to take photos of something you're unsure about and flick it to someone who's more knowledgeable and
Say, what the?
Yeah, exactly. Is this what I'm meant to be looking at? Yeah. Is this a problem? They're absolutely invaluable as a maintenance tool. If you're trying to bring up an AD or a service bulletin or a manual, you've got it all there at your fingers. Brilliant tool, but like all those things, they need to be managed. And a huge threat about all this technology is distraction, especially in maintenance. Phone calls at the wrong time. You sort of come back afterwards and go, what was I up to?
Yeah.
Did I do that up? Or
finish that?
Hang on a second. My advice is don't be afraid to just
Turn it off.
or let it go through to the keeper and bring them back later. What you do in maintenance, if you're changing oil filters, changing fuel filters and all that sort of thing, tightening things up, is far more important than some phone call. So just keep going.
Yep.
Do your job.
Yep.
And bring them back later.
That's it. There's always the possibility of ring them back and chat later.
Yep.
Cool.